Well, let's see. Perfectly good goal disallowed for no valid reason. Two players were offside, but they were not active. Um, Giacomakis was fouled as the ball came across. Um, then Hearts get a penalty, which initially I actually thought penalty. But through the benefit of a replay, you see that the Hearts player gets the ball, but he does so by showing his studs with a high boot.
Mhm.
So for me, that's a foul on Carter Vickers. It's not a penalty. Then there's the most obvious handball you'll ever see, and the referee says no. I really, well, if there was ever anybody who was saying, look, I've been saying for months, VAR is not the silver bullet that's going to kill all the problems in Scottish football, and I think today just proves that in a nutshell.
We just seen 45. In fact, we just seen 50 minutes of proof there,
Aye.
Liam. Welcome to the show, incidentally. I'm Paul John Dykes. I am joined today by Liam Carrigan. This is a Celtic State of Mind, and we are working alongside Celtic Down Under for the match day. It's half time, and it's Hearts 1, Celtic 1. All the talk is going to be around that display of the VAR tag team of McLean and Walsh. Some of the decisions are absolutely bizarre. And Michael Warner comes in. Sorry, but that made no sense to me. It makes perfect sense, Michael, because I think we've seen it coming. We've seen it coming. I think the moment where you just thought that even Ange, who had been playing it down all week, Liam, even Ange was laughing, and he's actually applauding the officials for their inability to do their job. And I
Yeah.
think that what we'll try and do is a blow by blow of this game. It's a poor game in terms of the weather. You've seen a lot of passes skidding on that park. I think Ralston's got a hard time it down the right hand side, and it's shown a wee bit. But the first goal. Let's talk about the first goal before we get into some of the poor decisions. Scored by
Yeah.
Forrest, made by Ralston. Two of the players who
Yeah.
have had a hard time in the past, but I think that there is no doubt both of them are brilliant parts of the squad. Ralston done ever so well to get that ball across, and of course, Forrest scores goal number 101. He's a legend.
Is that the first time, John, that James Forrest has scored a header? Because I do not remember him scoring a header before today.
Potentially, come on. The Statos in the comment section, let us know. I can't remember him scoring a header either, and I loved his celebration. He's up there, in amongst it with regards to surrounded by Hearts fans and just the emotion that he showed. So we're a goal up, and I think at that point though, I would say that we were deserving of that lead. There was one wee thing that I've noted here, Liam, a few minutes before the goal, and it was they made a chance. They made a chance that has gone behind after ricocheting off a Hearts player's face, and Hearts get a by kick. And I'm trying to remember which player went up to the referee. I think it was Maeda himself went up to Walsh, and Walsh, you could see it. He said, "Go away." It was just the disdain that he has for any decisions, anything at all, any shouts that we're trying to get in this game. And I was a wee bit concerned at that moment in time. Should we be concerned?
Well, yeah, I think there are causes for concern. I still think we'll win this game. I think we will. We've opened up Hearts a few times with a couple of slick passing moves, and if we can get that going again in the second half, the goals will come because they're not good enough to shut us out for a whole another 45 minutes. But I mean, I think of something that a friend of mine once said, and it was actually in relation to a dispute we had with a boss at work. He said, "Never put down to maliciousness what you can put down to incompetence." But referees today, that crosses a line beyond just incompetent. There's something. There's an agenda there, clearly.
The thing, Liam, right? I said something similar the other week. I've always used the incompetence line because I think, you look at some of the examples. You look at some of the examples over the years. You speak to some ex-players over the years as well, and they've been used at the level of incompetence. But the other week there, it kind of went beyond that for me against Hibs. You know, when I'm looking at McLean and I'm looking at some of those decisions, and people in the comments will be saying it went beyond that years ago in relation to some of the decisions. But you watch that there today. Autumn Glow comes in, and he or she, Autumn Glow comes in to say it's a penalty in your opinion. That's fair enough. But why did that take 3 minutes? And why was Ralston's goal not given? I think that is part of the frustration here, Liam. You look at Ralston's goal, it's disallowed for a foul apparently by Giakoumakis. You watch it back, you think, Nick Walsh is actually called it before the ball's hit the net. It goes to the VAR replay and it comes back and the goal's disallowed. It's pathetic. It really is. It's so poor. I do think Celtic have got enough to win this game, but you're up against it. And I think if the penny hadn't dropped already with Ange, and you know Ange better than I do, right? Not on a personal level, but you've got more experience in Ange. What was that all about during the week? Was he just trying to take the heat away from that? Because he must realise, he's clapping the officials. He's laughing at that decision. John Kennedy's talking to the fourth official. They must realise it's an absolute disgrace the way they're going about their business, these officials.
Aye, but I think Ange is of a mind that, as Jock Stein said back in the day, as long as we score enough goals to win the game, it doesn't matter what the referee does, And I think Ange he's fully aware of the issues with referees, but he's of the mind that we're going to win in spite of them.
Yeah.
So, but, that display there, something that it made me think about, right? There's a thing we do in school in Japan here. I teach in primary schools, right? And we have this thing called soji time, which is like 15 minutes after lunch, where the kids spend 15 minutes cleaning the school, right? They clean all the floors or the tables, whatever. I'll get to the point here, bear with me, right? But there are some Waynes who just don't want to do it, right? So they deliberately do it so badly that eventually say, look, just step back, I'll do it myself, and you sweep the floor yourself, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I honestly wonder if they're trying to deliberately make such a complete and utter cock-up of VAR that in a couple of weeks people are going to say, do you know what, just scrap it, it's not ready. Because clearly the referees don't want it, and they are trying to make it as difficult and as belligerent as possible.
You said something there, it's not ready. I remember that conversation happening about a week ago where officials were coming out and saying, there's going to be teething problems. And the question was why? Because if there's going to be teething problems, why are we introducing it at this early juncture? Now, Stockroom Tim comes in to say, you're watching this on YouTube. They both got to the ball. That is and always has been a joke. Stephen Sloan is more concerned with the performance at Celtic. Hearts deserve to be level, reckons Stephen. We can't handle the pressing. Our passing is poor when we are struggling to play out from the back. Our full-backs and wingers are offering little. Let's concentrate then, Liam, on Celtic's performance. I think in the opening stages there, Hearts had the first real chance of the game. I think it was a decent save by Joe Hart. We spoke about Hart before the game. And up to then, it was kind of like end-to-end, but I think a lot of the play that you would expect from Celtic has been affected slightly by the conditions. No excuses, because obviously we did take the lead. But up to the point where we scored the goal, I've seen great defensive tackles by Maurice Jens, really good defensive play by O'Reilly, but probably not enough. Not enough up to that stage, first quarter an hour, of us creating anything. Would you go with that? Do you think the goal came at a good time for Celtic?
It did, because Hearts were on the ascendant at that point, and the goal was like a hammer blow to them, because they staggered for the next 5 or 10 minutes after that as well. We could have got more if we'd have turned the screw a little bit on them, but I think that Hearts do deserve some credit. Now, was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? I don't think it was, but a lot of people think it was. And I think it's one of those that take VAR out of the equation. It could be given, it could not be given, right? But I do think that Hearts deserved possibly to get back into the game, because they have been having a go. They've contributed something to this game, and you do have to give them some credit for that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And we've got a game in our hands now, Liam. I mean, going by the comments, a lot of people are saying, they think that the Cameron Carter-Vickers offence was a foul and it was a penalty, right? Okay, so you take that one on the chin. But I think it's a bitter pill to swallow when you've seen Ralston's goal chopped off, and then the salt is rubbed in the wounds with the Forest's play and the handball at the other end, and you look at that because it's as clear a handball and a penalty as you'll see all day long. So if you concede that the penalty was indeed a penalty for Hearts, I think the counter argument to that is that there's been two decisions that have been woeful, and they've gone against Celtic.
Not just the decisions being woeful, but the administration of the decisions as well. Why does it take about 4 minutes before the referee even decides to go and have a look at the video? As soon as he gets the shout, it should be, right, stop, go and have a look. It should be done in less than a minute. In the meantime, he's standing there going, stop, 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 stop. And I'm like, what are you doing? Go and check. If you think it's the wrong decision, go and check it. If it's not, play on. It's a simple, it's a binary choice, I'm
going to bring this up because it's not about conspiracies. Maybe we have your goes. It's not conspiracies though. What it is, it's about. I'm going to go back to it. It was the same prior to VAR being introduced, Liam. It's about consistency, isn't it? And I don't think, right, if you just look at the VAR decisions in that first half, have they been consistent? And I would say no. I don't think they have been consistent. But it's just about consistency. I mean, I'm not saying anything other than that. Is it beyond incompetence? I'll leave that up to yourself to decide. The Ralston diving header, by the way, let's not forget how good a goal that was. I mean, it's so unfortunate for Tony Ralston. He'd done so well to get through that sea of bodies and get on the end of it. Brilliant goal. It's just a shame that it's been chopped off by VAR. I've seen the boy Devlin going in late on Jens, but Jens was the one that ended up in the book in that first half, which was unusual. And of course,
that was a strange one. Yeah, the Jens booking was a strange one because to me, it's both players are at it, but the Hearts player gets a second prize simply because he's smaller. It's just you either book both of them or you book neither of them because they were both the arms were up from both of them. So I really think
Devlin,
it's a stupid one.
He's like it is, but Devlin, you know what he's like, Liam, don't you? We've seen it against Celtic time and time again. He'll go for the ball. He's that type of player. It reminds me of Scrappy Doo from the old Scooby Doo cartoons. The wee guy, just the wee guy that always wanted a fight. That's the one. The wee irritating one. Craig, I'm bringing this up because somebody's agreeing with me, Liam. Ours is a definite penalty too. You're right. Thank you. As long as I'm right, once in a weekend. We've had 1,000 of you live on the halftime bulletin because I think there was just a feeling of frustration when the halftime whistle was blown. A couple of you have left the broadcast, so that would suggest that the second half's about to kick off. Liam, just going through some of the first half, is there anything you would do differently in the second half? Any changes you would make at half time even, or is it one of the ones where you're giving them 15 minutes of the second half again?
No, I think we need to get back out in front quickly. I would immediately swap out Maeda and Giakoumakis for Kyogo and Haksabanovic. Giakoumakis is just not his game today. Unfortunately, it's not happening for him.
It's not, and it looks as though anything he does will be penalised. Again, I'm going back to that. It does look as though if he's putting himself about, which I love when a big guy does that. I love when he does it in Europe. But he's been penalised for it today. So if you do take him off, you've got the craft and the wizardry of Kyogo and Haksabanovic. Haksabanovic is on great form. I'm not sure I would make any other changes than that at this moment in time. Still confident of a win, Liam, before we go back to join the action?
Yeah, I'm going to predict 3-1.
Brilliant. I'd love to see it. We'll see you at full time. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. Thank you, Liam Carrigan, for joining me on a Celtic State of Mind.